What is up, you guys? My name is Kayla and welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna do a book haul. I've got a couple books that I have recently purchased. I purchased them within the last like 3 or 4 months and haven't shown you guys. And then I have a huge stack of library books that I'm gonna be hauling for you guys because my library started doing curbside takeout and I kind of went overboard. So the first book that I have in my recently purchased stack is a book called Lilac Girls. Let's see if you guys can see it, by Martha Hall Kelly. From what I know about this book, it is about some young women that kind of get together, and then it's set in Nazi Germany. And then from what I believe happens, there is one of the young girls gets sent to a concentration camp. So it's kind of the girls kind of dealing with that. The next book I have is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I have been wanting to read this book since it came out. Maureen Johnson is a fantastic author. She writes such good stories. This book is the first in a trilogy, I believe. It might be coming a full series, more than 3 books. But this is a murder mystery, I believe, that's set at a famous boarding school. And I think the main character, something happens in the past, and then she has to kind of figure it out in the present day. So I'm really excited to read that one. And then my next book is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. I have heard fantastic things about this. I have seen booktubers that rant and rave about this book. They have nothing but good things. The only thing I really know is it is about a young girl who goes to a famous school for assassins, and then I believe she tries to become like the best assassin. But I'm really looking forward to this one as well. So the next book I have is The Bone Witch by Rin Chapeko. This book follows a young girl who finds out that she is a necromancer, so she is a bone witch. And in this story, I believe bone witches are not very common, and because of that, she has to leave her family and her land and go off and become a bone witch somewhere else. And in that time, there's a war kind of raging in their land, and then she has to kind of deal with that, and that's what's kind of going on in that. The next book I have is, I've already read it and I'm obsessed with it and I cannot wait to get the next volume, but it is My Brother's Husband. This is a manga, and it's set around a Japanese man who lives with his daughter, and then one day this white man shows up at this big like bear white man shows up at his door and basically says, "I'm your brother's husband and nice to meet you." And it kind of goes along with that, being in Japan, and where homosexuality is not a good thing. It really shows like the depth of the characters learning to understand this new white man that's come into their house and is a relative of theirs. And I really think it's such a good story. I really cannot wait to get my hands on the second volume. The next book I have is the Sawbones book by Justin McElroy and his wife, Dr. Sydney McElroy. This is a nonfiction book, and it is a horrifying, hilarious road to modern medicine. And it is based on their podcast with the same title, Sawbones. And Justin and Sydney kind of talk about different medical things. This book covers so many different medical topics, and what I love about it is because Sydney is a doctor and she practices family medicine. You get a medical professional's take on the diseases, the different things that happen in history, and then you have her husband Justin, who, if you are familiar with the McElroys, is nothing but jokes. So this representation of medical things is so funny because you have Sydney's medical knowledge, and then you have Justin's humor, and it kind of brings it into a more palatable idea for the different medical diseases, because you have Justin in here making jokes and stuff like that. I'm very excited to get to this one because I am a huge fan of their podcast. And one of the things that I love about this book is when you open the cover, there is a skeleton and he's wearing a mask, because you guys need to be wearing your masks at all times when you are not in your home, and you need to stay 6 feet apart from others. Social distancing. You're welcome. Okay, so the next stack I have is my library books, and I have them in size order in the stack, so that's just kind of how I'm going to show you guys. A few of them I don't know a whole lot about, so we'll just get into it and see what I have to say about them. The first book in the library stack that I have for you guys is The Explorer by Catherine Rudell. I actually have absolutely no idea what this is about, but Gavin over at How to Train Your Gavin and JD Ray Reads just read this for one of their book clubs that they do, and so it is a middle grade novel. So from what I read on the synopsis, it is about some kids, I believe, that are on a plane and the plane crashes in the Amazon, and I believe that they have to kind of deal with their plane crashing. The next book I have for you guys is Heroine by Mindy McGinnis. What I know about this book is I believe that it is about a young girl who suffers some different tragedies in her life, and then because of that, her mental health kind of starts to struggle, and then I believe she gets addicted to maybe heroin, I assume, because that's what the title is, but I think she gets addicted to some kind of hard drugs, and then it's kind of her spiraling through that. And it's something that I'm really looking forward to. There are probably hardcore trigger warnings in this book, and I think that some books that do have trigger warnings are good to read for people who do not have those triggers, to kind of learn about what could cause those triggers for someone else. The next book I have for you guys, I'm very excited to read. So it is The Downstairs Girl by Stacey Lee. From what I know about this one, because apparently I don't know anything about any of these books prior to checking them out, this book is about a young Chinese girl, and she is a lady's maid for a house, and then she gets a newspaper call. She writes a newspaper column, and then it's kind of her life after writing that newspaper column while being a Chinese immigrant in the South. So I'm very excited to read that. Stacey Lee's other book, I believe it's called Under a Painted Sky, was fantastic. I read that a couple years ago, so I really have high hopes going into this book because of Stacey Lee. So that's that one. The next one I have is Final Girls by Riley Sager. Riley Sager is probably one of the best thriller authors out there right now, and if you have not read a Riley Sager book, you need to get on it right now. Earlier this year, I read Lock Every Door, and that book, while it was good, it was not at all what I expected. There were some low points in the book, but there were a lot of high points that I really liked. So that's why I decided to pick up Final Girls. Final Girls is Riley Sager's first novel, so I have really high hopes for this one. So I believe this book is about a group of final girls, and final girls are what in this story, and I think in real life, are known as girls who survive serial killers and survive murders and things like that. And in this group of girls, those final girls start getting murdered, and I think it's kind of the story of who is murdering these final girls, what's happening, things like that. So I think this thriller, I'm very, very, very excited to read it, and I cannot wait to get my hands on Riley Sager's other books. Riley Sager is a must-buy, must-check out, must-read author for me right now, and I hear nothing but good things about him. The next book that I have is The Silent Patient. This book is kind of on everybody's radar right now. I think everybody's reading it or has read it recently. From what I know about this book, it follows a woman who murders her husband, and then she goes to a mental hospital, and the person, her therapist in the mental hospital, is trying to ask her questions and trying to figure out what happened, but I believe she doesn't talk. She's mute, nothing happens, she doesn't say anything, she doesn't let anything come out. And so I think the story is about her therapist trying to get her to say something about what happened and discovering the trauma, maybe why she murdered her husband. So I think that I'm very excited for that. I've heard amazing things. I've heard it's such a great thriller. So I'm gonna lump the next two books together because they kind of go together and there's kind of unnecessary explanation for these two. But the books I have are Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, and then I have Lord of Shadows. So I'm very excited to get to Lord of Shadows. Lord of Shadows is the second book in the Dark Artifices series by Cassandra Clare. So this book follows the LA Institute of the Shadowhunters. So I love Mia Carstairs. If anybody in the Cassandra Clare's books are last name Carstairs, they're the love of my life. And I just need all the Carstairs in my life. I don't know what happens in Lord of Shadows, and I'm not going to say anything about what happened in the other books. So if you are reading the Shadowhunter books, or if you are hoping to read them, you can figure out when you get there. Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, however, is a collection of short stories that follows different characters in the Shadowhunter world. And I believe I'm trying to read the books in publication order. And I believe Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy came out either prior to Lady Midnight or post Lady Midnight. And while I've already read Lady Midnight, reading it right now seems like the best time because it won't spoil me for anything to come, as the later books have been published after this one. But I am so excited to get to these. I have recently become a Shadowhunters trash person. If you in the comments want to talk to me about Jem Carstairs, we can talk about other characters, but I specifically want to talk about how much I love Jem Carstairs. Let's do it. That is all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed my book haul. I'm hoping to kind of update the content of my videos a little bit better, maybe get some better quality, things like that. So I'm hoping that can happen pretty soon. If you've read any of these books, let me know in the comments. Let me know how you liked them. Let me know if you didn't like them. Let me know whatever. I just want to see you guys in the comments. If you do not follow me on any of my social medias, I'll leave those links down below so you can follow me there. And I hope I can chat with you guys soon. Since it is a book haul, let's have the emoji today be a stack of books. So if you made it this far, leave me a stack of books in the comments. And I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.
5 minutes later.
Trash, 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 trash.